Eric, who it says here, Eric is relieved he does not have to pay Mike for making the field goal. Yeah, Mike did not make that field goal last week, Eric. It was just a few yards short. It just came up a few short.
You know what? I heard it was straight, though. That's all that matters. So, valiant effort, as I told him, and just hit the leg press and the leg curls and be good to go for next year.
Yeah, and the good news is he did not get tragically injured in any way, which was definitely on the table. So we're all happy for that.
That's awesome.
All right, so, Eric, let's go back to last week. We haven't talked since the Miami game. Like, man, but what a game, right? Like, you played in your own version of that with the Clemson game. What's it like when you're seeing a game like that you kind of know as it's going as a chance to go down as an all-timer?
Yeah, I think that's kind of one of the staple wins for Coach Brown. That's already kind of capped off a remarkable season here. 9-3. I mean, Syracuse has been rolling. He's outperformed every expectation that fans and players, I feel like, had for themselves. Obviously, with Kyle, just the consistent play that he's had all year, that's where you can really hang your hat on. But you just got to feel so happy for these guys, and especially beating Miami, for them to come in and just coming down 21. It was truly special. And just like you said, thinking back to the Clemson game, it's a feeling that, it'll last with you forever. And this is one of those games that will for this team as well. But, they put themselves in a great situation here, cracked the top 25 at the end of the season. And it's just, when you look at it from a bigger picture, what Coach Brown has done in his first year head coach, bringing in a whole new scheme, new quarterback, it's just impressive. And you got to be super ecstatic about the future of this program. They're getting more and more momentum as we go into recruiting. And I think Upstate is going to be a spot where these 4- and 5-star recruits, if they want to make a name for themselves, they can see the numbers that Kyle put up and the numbers that Aronde and Trevor Pena, these guys, and they can establish themselves there. So that's, I think, what Coach Brown wanted to do. The wins have been remarkable, but they're going to continue to come throughout next season and the seasons to come.
And we talk about Kyle McCord a lot, and my goodness, what a season he had, and may have capped it off with the best game of his career there against Miami. A clean game, 380, 3 touchdowns, has every single season Syracuse passing record of note. Now, I ask you this, Eric. A lot of people have been talking about Mount Rushmore of Syracuse quarterbacks. So we got McNabb and Graves and Donnie McPherson. You've always been kind of in the mix for that last spot. Are you cool if Kyle McCord bumps you out of the mix, or would you like to duel over it or something here?
You know what? I am just ecstatic about the success for Syracuse football. That's all I ever wanted. I think Kyle and I have two totally different play styles. He is a true pocket passer. As you know, I like to run the ball a few times. So optimistic and efficient quarterback play that showed throughout the whole season. It's going to be sustainable for him going into the future as well. And I think he just upped his draft stock with everything that he's done. I just got a lot of respect for the kid. Just seems like a very humble and very hardworking guy. He had a chip on his shoulder, similar to what I had. With him coming from Ohio State, people kind of wishing on his downfall, and he proved them wrong. So I'm just happy for him. He could take my spot for all I care. I'm just happy about the Syracuse wins here. And that's all I've ever truly cared about.
It seemed but yours and his goal in many ways was the same, was to put this program on the map, right? How important is McCord's success this year when you look at the, what college football is now? That certainly changed from when you were in it, with transfer portal, with NIL, that he put that year out there. Like, it has to, right, make Syracuse a way more attractive landing spot for quarterbacks than it would have been as recently as 3 months ago.
Oh, definitely. And again, I think that's going to be a big thing. I think we're excited about the success that Cal has had, but at the same time, that void is going to need to be filled here next year. And you've seen that if the quarterback play is not what Kyle has been doing, then it's going to be a long, long season. So making sure that we do have some solid backups, but making sure we go into the portal and we hit it hard, because if you have a consistent guy like Kyle McCord, then the world is your oyster here, and you can really start to put up some big wins. Or you go to the opposite approach, where you hit the transfer portal hard to find some defensive guys, and you just built a really strong defense, and you just get an offense that can put up 21, 28 points a game. And you just kind of rely on your defense. I mean, at the end of the day, the defense wins championships, and that's very true. if you have a rock-solid defense, you're going to be good. And I think for Syracuse, that's something that they have to really focus on in the offseason.
And I'll say this, for any portal quarterbacks or other positions out there, like if you want to play against Tennessee, in the kickoff classic next year, like it's out there. Like that's the season opener. So that's a good way to hop into it next season. All right. I know for you, Eric, and we certainly talked about this a lot at the time, the idea of capping your career with that bowl game was very important to you at the time. Obviously, a lot has changed with opt-outs and stuff, and they become way more prevalent as the years have gone on. How important is this bowl game coming for Syracuse, whatever it ends up being?
I think it's huge. The double-digit wins for a season is just something that it's an accomplishment, but not a lot of teams can do that. Anytime you can get 10 wins, especially in the ACC, it's just truly impressive, and it kind of separates yourself from the rest of the pack here. So I think the bowl game is going to be huge for them, not only for the fan momentum, but for going into next year. I think the goal for this Coach Brown's first year was just to make a bowl game. Now we're going to have a high-caliber bowl game, and it just depends on who we're going to play. And you just want to establish yourself as one of those top-tier programs. So I'm just excited to see, the full predictions that are coming out. But once we finalize it, I'm really excited for that.
I forget if I've asked you this specifically this way before, Eric, but like with you, it was never a question. You were playing in that game. With Kyle, it's a legit question. He has said he wants to play in the game, but obviously there's a lot of factors going on. If you're in his shoes, how do you go about making that decision of whether to participate in a game like this?
Yeah, that's a different situation there, and it just felt what's best for him and his family. And he's obviously proven himself here at Syracuse. He's done so much for the program already, bringing them to the 9 wins, getting those wins going. But I think for him, his gameplay is different. For me, I was always a running quarterback. There was that threat or there was a risk of getting hurt. For him, he's been able to just stay healthy throughout the whole season. Granted, crazy things have happened in bowl games, but I think he would take that approach safe and make sure that he's putting himself not in harm's way. Yeah, you want to get the bowl game win, but at the same time, you have a big future ahead of you, and make sure that you're staying healthy. That's going to be priority number one. But I just got a feeling that he'll likely play in this bowl game. He's started something that's really been remarkable here, and he's got a chance to do something and kind of engrave his name into the record books for, I just don't think anybody could beat that, to be honest with you. I mean, 350-plus yards and basically every game it's just a impressive feat there. So I'm excited to see the news on that. I mean, you probably know more than me, and I've been hearing some rumblings, but I would have a feeling that he would probably play.
He told me he wants to play, but again, there's so much that goes into it. It's not as simple as that anymore. So I think a lot of it is going to be Sunday finding out, where's the game, who's it against? If you're playing somewhere warm and nice against a big time team, well, why not go strap them on for one more game if you're McCord and a lot of the guys on the team here. So we got Eric Dungey here. All right, what do you make of where we're at with the ACC, the college football playoff situation, Eric? Miami, obviously Syracuse beat them, but they get bumped behind Alabama. We got SMU, Clemson coming up tomorrow. What do you view as the ACC's place in the world right now?
Yeah, and I think SMU is kind of it's an interesting game here. I think SMU is going to be taking this as their Super Bowl against Clemson here, and crazier things have happened. I think you look at the wins, you look at the strength of schedule. I think there's some teams that obviously belong there. Other teams where you're like, this team has been outperformed all year. In Miami, again, Miami had some cracks. I thought that this was a very winnable game. They turn it on in the fourth quarter of a lot of games, but they've been down, 8 to 10 points into it, and they just find a way to win. Sometimes they blow them out by 18 to 20. Some down 21, and they came back and they outlasted them. Obviously, with that fumble, that scoop and score, that was massive there for the momentum and also for the outcome of the game. But it's interesting. I think there's some great teams out there. I think Oregon is going to be a tough team to beat, and I can see them kind of going the distance there just because from a special teams, offense, defensively, they have been pretty sound all year.
Yeah. Any of these games popping to you this weekend, Eric? Any you're looking forward to popping on your TV tonight or tomorrow?
Definitely. Boise State, I love watching Ashton Jeanty. I mean, I think, pound for pound, he's one of the best football players in college football. Travis Hunter, what he does is very impressive. But when you're a running back and everybody knows you're getting the ball and you still put up those numbers, that is just insane to me. They know exactly where you're going, and they line up, and he gets it done. His balance, his speed, his burst. It's just everything that you look for in a running back, and he's been doing it every single game. And not only that, but he's been able to stay healthy. He's gotten banged up a few games here and there, comes back in and gets the job done. So I'm truly looking forward to watching him play because he is kind of the high caliber running back that you want to watch, and he's just a fun guy to see.
Yeah, I'd say there's a not totally crazy chance by the end of tonight he's got 2,500 yards and 30 touchdowns on the season. Like he's sitting at 2288 and 28 touchdowns right now, which is just crazy to say it out loud. It's literally going to be the second best season of all time, most likely to what Barry Sanders did back in the day. All right, Eric, good to chat as always. I'm sure we'll touch base when we get closer to a bowl game, but happy holidays if we don't talk till after Christmas, if that's the case, and thanks as always for hopping on every week this year.
Awesome. It's been a pleasure, Brian, as always. Look forward to it. Have a great holiday.
All right, thanks, Eric. There he goes, our guy Eric Dungey, the last 10-win quarterback for Syracuse. Kyle McCord could join that parade depending on how the bowl game stuff goes down with the selection on Sunday, and then obviously the game coming up later on this month or perhaps early on next year. Ooh. When was the last January bowl game? Was that had to be the Orange Bowl, right? The Orange Bowl against Florida in '98. That one didn't go so well. That one didn't go so well. We'll worry about that another day and time. All right, we'll take a break. We'll get Mike in here. We'll do a little NFL whip around. We'll do that next year on a Friday. It's Q Sports Talk at ESPN Radio.